Welcome back, listeners, to a brand new episode of the New Standard. You're checking out the program on November 19th, 2024. The title of the program is 8 and 2, the Steelers versus Clowns Breakdown. Yes, if you're from Pittsburgh, we do not call them the Browns. We call them the Clowns. I want to dedicate this program to my oldest daughter who is celebrating a birthday today. Big up to you, Mrs. Mims. Big up to you. Again, this show is dedicated to you, to Mrs. Mims. Hope you have a beautiful evening and have celebrated a beautiful birthday. Big up to all the Scorpios out there. My dad is a Scorpio and my grandson is a Scorpio. As well as always on this particular program, if you'd like to contribute, you can hit us with the super chat, but please hit us with a like and a subscribe on the bottom of the screen. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. But I am a Gen X guy, so our directions get turned upside down. But on this particular program, some of the topics we're going to jump into, we're going to look back at the last one. We're going to look at some of the marquee matchups coming up for this particular game. We're going to look at the injury report, some of that stuff, and we might discuss a little bit of the ridiculousness of playing the Ravens on Sunday and then having to come back to back and play another game on Thursday. Actually, before we jump into some of the segments, let's talk about that. I'm not sure if Tomlin cares. No, in fact, I'm sure Tomlin does not care. He does not care that the game is on Thursday, that they played the Ravens on Sunday, and now they play another divisional game on the road against the Cleveland Browns, of which they're 3.5-point favorites. True or false? Hit me on my TikTok, Steelers, true or false. I'm going to put a true or false out there. True or false? Will the Steelers, or the true or false is the Steelers will not cover the 3.5. True or false? But back to the topic I just wanted to touch on is schedule makers are not doing the Pittsburgh Steelers any favors by having to play a physical team like the Ravens and have to turn right back around on a Thursday and play another divisional opponent in the Cleveland Clowns. As much as I think the Cleveland Clowns are clowns, and they're particularly clowns after the Deshaun Watson fiasco, you are playing a divisional opponent who knows all your tendencies, who's very much familiar with you. That's a tough game. And as much as I think the Cleveland Clowns are clowns, they are a physical bunch that know a lot about you. They have a lot of familiarity with you. And more so, they have a ton of familiarity with the coaches. So they know your tendencies. They know the coach's tendencies. They know the team's tendencies. So this gets down to a very difficult game. And a lot of it is going to hinge on, how healthy is either team coming into this matchup. But to me, putting divisional games on Thursday is a bit unfair. Those are the toughest games to play. They mean the most, and they're the toughest to prepare for because of the familiarity between the teams. And to limit the preparation time and put those games on a Thursday, I mean, it sounds like spoiled grapes. I could be whining a touch, but I just don't think I don't think it's good for the game, good for the players. We've had some good Thursday night matchups this year. Typically, there aren't good Thursday games. The Thursday games are bad, and they're played a little bit slow. And if this game is a slog, don't be surprised. One team just played the Ravens. The other played on the road in New Orleans. These teams are tired. Their teams are tired. And so, the meat and potatoes of the stuff that they do on both sides of the ball is probably going to have to be good enough for either team to win. But let's look back. That I don't want to rant too long on that because Tomlin doesn't care, so I don't care. He doesn't care about it. The responsibility of the coaching staff and the team is to prepare the players and get them ready to go and give their best effort on Thursday. But it's going to be a tough game, in my opinion, on Thursday because it's a Thursday game and it's a Thursday divisional game, which means it's going to be extra tough. The benefit on playing Thursday is you get a mini bye. You can get guys healthy afterwards, but we'll talk a little bit about that when we break down the game. But one thing I want to look at in terms of looking back at the last one, and a question I think I asked myself, and I think a question, what's up, Big Mel, and happy Founders Day to the brothers of Omega Psi Phi who celebrated their Founders Day on November 17th. Big up to the Mel and the Q dogs all around the world. And especially big up to the Qs from Lagos. Big up to that chapter in Nigeria. That was fresh. But why are the Steelers so good against Lamar? That's a question that I've asked myself because I believe Tomlin is either 4-1 against Lamar or 5-1 against Lamar. And Lamar does not play well against the Steelers. He has, and I've talked about it on my TikTok, and I put the statement out there and wondering if you guys, if you're listening to the program, you think it's true or false. Again, you're checking out the new standard. The title of the program is 8-2. Tomlin has Lamar's number. True or false? I think it's true. For whatever reason, I think the Steelers and their staff do a very good job of rushing Lamar. When I watch Lamar play against the Steelers, he looks rushed. But I think some of that is because they are very familiar with Lamar. I think Lamar is a shock to the system if you don't play Lamar. His physical attributes and traits are such that you don't see a lot. You won't see. And you'll be shocked by some of the stuff that Lamar does to you if you haven't seen it. And the Steelers have seen it numerous times. They're very familiar with it. And so I think the lack of shock of Lamar, their familiarity with the Ravens, and even only having played Monken a couple of times, they've got a lot of tape on Lamar. They seem to be very dialed in to Lamar's tendencies, what he likes to do with the ball, how he likes to see it. And when you see Lamar playing the Steelers, it just feels like he's playing fast. But like Mel said, and big up to Mel again and the brothers of Omega Psi Phi, I think it's gotten mental for Lamar. And our D plays very well against him as well. And I think it is. I think right now, and I would liken it to where the Patriots had Peyton Manning before Peyton Manning slayed the dragon and then start whooping the Patriots' ass on offense. He unlocked it, and once it was unlocked, he was foot to ass every single game against the Patriots. The Steelers they still got Lamar locked in a mental closet, and he has not figured it out with Monken or Greg Roman, and he's playing behind the 8 ball. Let me jump into another thing, another observation from the game. And I've seen a lot of people on social media, and I've said it myself, Steelers got to score. They got to do better in the red zone. They are inconsistent in the red zone. I don't think they're terrible in the red zone because against Washington, they were 3-4 in the red zone, 0-4 in this game. I think there's too much variance in their red zone performance. It's too up and down. And when you look at their red zone offense on tape, it looks discombobulated. Guys don't look like they're doing the right things. The spacing on the routes aren't good. It does not look well coordinated. And I'm sure this is something that Arthur Smith and Tomlin have seen on tape and are going to try to address it. But they've got to get that figured out. Because at this level, when you're 8-2, a 3 seed in the AFC, you're chasing teams like Buffalo and Kansas City, you're going to win on the margins. You're going to win on the margins. You have to You have to convert in the red zone. You can't kick 6 field goals, and we'll talk about some numbers associated with the 6 field goals, and expect to beat a Kansas City team that has Mahomes and not Alex Smith. Yes, they did it once in Kansas City and kicked the 6 field goals, and Boswell, for sure, absolutely true, is the best place kicker in the National Football League. He is money, 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 money. But they've got to get that better. They've got to get that more coordinated. They got to figure that part out. And like Mel said, red zone is horrible. I'm not going to say it's horrible. I'm going to say it's woefully average because I'm trying to turn over a new leaf and be a touch more positive, but it's too much variance in it. You can't go one game 3 or 4, next game 0 4, next game 3 or 4, 1 or 4, 0 4, 4. It has to be more consistent. For instance, the Baltimore Ravens, although the Steelers did defeat them, they were 2 of 3 in the red zone in the game. Steelers were helped immensely by the turnovers that they caused and the fact that Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. But if he makes those field goals, Steelers don't win the game because they converted the Ravens 2 of their 3 red zone trips. And the Ravens are number 1 in the National Football League in red zone offense, largely because Lamar Jackson's legs. But I want to jump into that too. I have some numbers for that as well. In terms of not scoring touchdowns, the Steelers are amazingly this year 2-0. The NFL is 2 of 19 this year in games in which a team has not scored a touchdown. Let me give you some other numbers with that. Going back to 2007, the Steelers are 5-10 in games where they scored no touchdowns. Now, that's a lot of damn games. That's the one thing that stands out to me. That's a lot of damn games. 15 games where you haven't scored a touchdown, that's a lot of damn games. But aside from that, the league has a .070 winning percentage in those type of games, and the Steelers are 5-10. Bottom line, this is a mentally tough outfit. They are fashioned like their coach. And what I've seen this year is, I'm going to throw it out there. I think they can win any type of game. I think they can win the shootout game because when it's clicking in the red zone, it's clicking to the tune of 37 points against the Jets. So I think they can score the game where they have to score a ton. And they obviously can win the ugly game, which they have, and I think they've mastered. Now, in terms of the red zone and looking at some of the playoff seeds on the AFC side, the Chiefs are ranked 11th. The Bills are ranked 6th. The Texans are 17th. The Steelers are 30th in the red zone. The Chargers are 21st. The Ravens are 1st. And the Broncos are 10th. I think the thing that you see in common between all of the teams that are good in the red zone, or most of them, they have quarterbacks that are mobile. Mahomes can use his legs in the red zone. Allen can use his legs in the red zone. Even Stroud, to a certain degree, can use his legs in the red zone. Herbert can run. Lamar is awesome in the red zone with the use of his legs. And even Bo Nix, I would consider a guy that is mobile enough to get some play and some action and some pay in the red zone. Rush, to me, right now is just not old Russ in terms of his mobility. But what he's going to do is protect the football, usually in the red zone. My other issue is I'm not sure how well Russ is seeing things due to his height in the red zone. But overall, I mean, the red zone has to be much better coordinated. It has to be better. One other thing I've noticed in the last couple of games is the time of possession. The Steelers are playing the time of possession game. Their defense is playing well, but they're also protecting their defense by playing a bunch of snaps and keeping the ball and converting third downs sometimes in some situations. Because if you're not going to convert third downs, but you're going to have a time of advantage, a time of possession advantage, like they had against the Ravens on Sunday, which was around 12 minutes, you got to get them off the field as well. And they did an excellent job of doing that. But you kind of see what this formula is with this football team. They're going to possess the ball. They're going to try to run the ball efficiently. They're going to take deep shots. They're going to attack you in the flats. And they're going to play solid special teams and defense, particularly turn the ball over. Now, on the days, because Rush, they have been scoring touchdowns. They have been scoring a ton of points prior to this Raven game. But those are some of the things that I see that they have to improve in terms of the red zone stuff too. When you look at Russell Wilson, and it's the question of, would you rather have a quarterback that gets you more red zone trips, but you struggle in the red zone, or a quarterback that gets you less red zone trips, but you're more efficient in the red zone? And that's what you're talking about when you're talking about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Russell Wilson in the red zone, they scored 4 TDs, 5 field goals. They're averaging 3.9 points per drive in the red zone. Fields, they've scored 8 TDs and 1 field goal. So both have 9 scores. Fields has doubled the touchdowns, but he's played more games. So on average, you're getting to the end zone more with Russ. You're just not necessarily converting at a level like Fields. And I think that's largely due to the fact of Fields' mobility. But for my money, I would rather take the quarterback that is going to get me in the red zone more times. Get me in the red zone 4.5 times a game, which is like the NFL league. Keep getting me in the red zone 4 times every game. I mean, by golly, we'll figure it out. At some point, we'll figure it out. This is the National Football League. We are a professional team. We're a professional outfit. We're going to figure it out. We might go 2-4 a couple of games in a row, but there's going to be them 3-4s games in which we are really efficient in the red zone. So to me, you got to get more attempts. The more attempts, the better. But let's shift to the Cleveland Clowns game this Thursday. And again, I think it's ridiculous that they have a divisional game on Thursday, and that anytime, and Trey Essex agreed with me, anytime you have, after a Raven game, having to play on Thursday, it's just very difficult. In this matchup, you're looking at a Cleveland team that, their season is practically over. And the Clowns are the Clowns. I mean, that deal with the quarterback, Mr. Touchy-Feely, just shows they're clowns. And they gave him guaranteed money. So, and not to throw dirt on him anymore, but, I mean, the franchise is horrible. When you look at them on defense, you look at their offense against the Steelers' defense, it's a mismatch. You're talking about a pass offense, which is 32nd in DVOA, and you're talking about a rush offense that's 30th. Now, and do exactly like Laura Top Life said. Smash that like button as you come in, folks. Please hit me and do that. The holiday season is coming, so support your boy. Again, you're listening to the New Standard. Title of the program is 8-2. The Steelers versus the Clowns, and they're going up against the Steelers defense that's ranked 8th against the pass and 10th, respectively, in terms of DVOA. And one thing that really stands out in this matchup, although the Steelers have not been getting home a ton in terms of sacks, and a lot of that is due to injury. You've had Highsmith in and out of the lineup, as well as Herbig, and you've had, TJ Watt just quadruple teamed. Whatever quadruple mean, that's like 12, 15 offensive linemen on the field trying to take him out. He's getting chipped by backs, chipped by tight ends, then getting hit by the guard and the tackle. But when one player is getting that much focus, other guys have to get home. And this might be the game where, with Jameis Winston's penchant for holding the ball and wanting to take deep shots and his aggressiveness, and the Browns giving up a leading 46 sacks. This looks like a mismatch. This looks like a game where the Steelers can turn up the heat against the Browns and force an overly aggressive Jameis Winston to put the ball in some tight areas and some tight spots. Because one thing the Steelers defense has been doing very well, they've been taking the ball away. And this is a game where I suspect they will do the same against the Browns. I mean, in terms of the Browns offense, Njoku's a dynamic player. Chubb is back. You've got Judy. But overall, it's not a very good offense, particularly because that offensive line is very porous in pass protection. And Jameis Winston, his pocket mobility and pocket presence is schizophrenic. This is a game in which I think the Steelers pass rush can turn it up and get a lot of pressure on Jameis Winston. If they can turn off the Browns' running game, they're going to have hay in this game. In terms of on the other side of the ball, I think it's more of an even matchup. Even though the Browns defense ranks 21st in rush and 25th in pass DVOA, right now the Steelers offense, in my opinion, is not lighting it on fire. The running game usually takes a little bit of time to get going. It's almost like a car in the winter where you got to go outside and warm up with the auto starter so it runs right. And big up to my guy, Ollie Howard, Species 5618. But I think the matchup is closer because you're talking about a Steelers pass offense that's 17th in DVOA and 18th in rush DVOA. And so it's going to be interesting. I really want to see that matchup. I really want to see how the Steelers deal with Myles Garrett in terms of pass protection because they're going to attack Broderick Jones flat out. And I think he has a big advantage against either tackle, Moore or Jones. And the Steelers are giving up 3 and some change in sacks every single game. So a question will be, how will the Steelers hold up in pass protection? Bottom line, when you look at the Steelers team and you look at their offense, if they can run the ball efficiently on first down, it will set up play action and they will take some deep shots. They're going to take some deep shots anyway, but the better they run the ball, the better they stop the run, the better they pass protect, the better they get after the passer is going to decide this game. This is going to be, in my opinion, a tough game. I think the 3.5, if I was a gambling man, I would take Cleveland and the 3.5. I mean, this is a tough spot, I think, for both teams, particularly for the Steelers after coming off of a very tough physical game. But when you look at the Steelers injury report, as I pull it up here, you've got Alex Highsmith is questionable. He might come back. You have several veterans who are taking a rest. They've given them rest days. I know Hayward has taken a couple. Siamalu has taken a couple. So the Steelers don't look too banged up. Joey Porter looks like he is recovering well he got tweaked up a little bit. But this is going to be a very tough game, a war of attrition, in my opinion. And before I give my prediction, I just want to say Peyton Wilson's play was absolutely phenomenal. You are not going to, the Steelers have, think about it this way. The Steelers have 2 linebackers in Wilson and Queen who can run with Hill, Raven scat back. That's incredible. You might not find 5 linebackers in football that could do that, let alone the Steelers have 2 of those guys on their roster. That is fantastic. And there was a play in the game against the Ravens where he ran with Hill up the seam, and I couldn't believe it. It was a fantastic play. I was like, Queen is ridiculous. And Queen is playing much better football. I think he's rounding into it. He was playing with his hair on fire against the Ravens because I'm sure he really wanted to win that football game. And let me go through the injury report real quick before we give my prediction. Van Jefferson did not participate, had a quad. Najee Harris had an ankle, didn't participate. Dante Jackson, hamstring. Nick Herbig, a hamstring. Herbig was a full participant. Jackson did not participate. Highsmith did not participate due to the ankle. Siamalu is resting. Pruitt is resting. Cam Hayward is resting. No status on CJ Henderson or Jalen Warren, who was banged up last week for the back. Corey Trice, as well. It looks like he's going to be out. I'll take that back. CJ Henderson is going to be out as well. Now, in terms of my prediction, I've been getting some games right. Now, I picked the Washington game right. I picked the Ravens game right. I want to say take the Browns and the points. Steelers win by a field goal, not 3.5. Because Jameis Winston is quarterbacking, because the Clowns do not pass protect well, because Russ will take care of the football, I think they will start off slow, but I think they will turn over, get sacks, get pressure, get interceptions, get some turnovers that will turn the tide of the game. I like the Steelers to win this game 24-10. Steelers go on the road, get to 9-2, and win the game 24-10. But I would not be surprised if we are clutching rosary beads at the end of the game, hoping that Chris Boswell hits another field goal. But with that, we're going to conclude the program. And as always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Go Steelers.